So the ERCF was released back Christmas, and I spent most of January getting this thing up and running and printing. Everything is doing that. In this video, we're going to go over the steps that it takes to get this thing going. Once you have it all set up and ready to go, how do you get it printing? So going over usage, and by the end of it, hopefully that print will be done, and we'll take a look at it. We're going to talk about using the ERCF Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder. This video is not intended to be any sort of build video or cover any of the stuff already covered in the setup and construction of the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder. We're just talking about simply using it. This is going to assume that you've already gone through all your setup and calibration and you have it ready to print. Through the manual, it'll give you directions for setting up your slicer, but quickly you're just going to want to make sure you've got multi-material enabled. For me, over here in my print profile, I've got prime tower enabled because I'm going to be purging to a prime tower. But then you can add your number of filaments simply by pushing the plus sign. You got 8, 10, 12, 4. The ERCF V2 is default 4 or 8. Mine's 6 because it was built off of a 6-cart V1.1 kit as a base, and then all the added BOM was for V2 was acquired outside of that. But we've got it set up here. In there I've got a high flow nozzle. We're going to set this up for PLA. You can select your colors. So whatever you want to set you've got filament colors in your ERCF. Now if you have some of the logic set up, like I've got it set here to send out the colors. The ERCF, the LEDs on the front will display those colors, and you can make sure that you've got the right filament loaded in the right cart. Now what's important to remember here is 1 actually corresponds to 0, 2 corresponds to 1, and so forth, because your tools start at 0, but for whatever reason in Slicer they've named them 1 through 6. I guess it makes more sense for some people, but I'd rather have a match, and every single thing multi-extruder, multi-material. T0, tool 0 is your first one. So let's grab a model. We're just going to grab this Flexi Alien done by my buddy Redblood. It's available on his Maker World profile. I'll have a link in the description for that. But as you can see, this 3MF file originally designed for P1S, but that's not a big deal. We're just going to go over here and reselect our printer, discard his settings. Now this model is set up to use filament 2, it looks like, as the primary, and is already painted for the eyes to be a different color, which is using filament cart 4. But let's say we're doing our alien as a green alien. We've got green filament. Actually, I don't know if I do or not, but we'll load it as green. And let's say we're doing the eyes black. I don't have black. Let's I'm out of that. But enough. So let's do his eyes. Yeah, we got some yellow out there. How's that look? Sufficiently creepy. Alright, now Well, let's say you want to give him a spacesuit. So you want to do a little bit of work on him yourself. Let's first move this purge block over here so it's closer to the cut point for my machine, and we'll leave the model over here just so that when it's moving, purging, moving back to the model, it's not crossing over the model and getting material on it. But grab the model, we'll go over here to paint. You got a couple different options for painting tools, but for our purpose we're going to go with fill, and we're going to select color 1, and then we're just going to give him a spacesuit. Make sure you're grabbing all sides of the parts that you want painted. That looks pretty good. We'll go back over here. Now I'm going to do his spacesuit as silver. That looks a little gray, but how's that look? That looks a little more silver. So you got him sliced up. I don't like those yellow eyes. What other colors do I have out there? Well, you know what I have that would look good? Let's do his eyes in an orange color. I know I've got orange out there. Actually, that's awful translucent orange. But let's do his body in blue. I've got some Protopasta blue out there that look pretty cool, and it's more of a mermaid blue. So let's get a lighter one, and you can manually select your blue colors or whatever color it is. You could even type in, if you know the hex code for your filament color, type that in. And just for the sake of argument, we're just going to leave this black and we'll grab whatever color I have out there. But now you've got your alien all sliced up and ready to go. Well, you got them painted up. Now it's time to slice them. It's often worth to take note of where your colors are going. So I gotta remember spacesuit is going to be tool 0. His body's going to be in tool 2, and his eyes are going to be in tool 3 and 1. But once it's sliced up, it gives you some information. How much of each filament you need, handy to know. Total filament usage, as well as how many times your filament's going to change. Then you can just go ahead and upload that model. And you're good to go. So from there, you gotta go out, load the filament, get ready to print. Alright, so we're out here, we've got ERCF, and we're getting ready to load up filament in. We have gone with a couple different color choices. So we've gone with this Polymaker bronze for his spacesuit rather than silver. Whatever you're using for your filament and spool solution, through your spool there. I'm using a rep rack. This is going into tool 0. So we'll feed the filament up through the Bowden tube. And it's going to come up right in through here and pop out with time. Then you're going to take and there's some little holes in these wheels for the filament to pop down into. Throw that in there. So you just wind this around. How many times it's got to go around is going to depend on the length of your Bowden tube from the ERCF down to your tool head. But for mine, I know I need to go around 3 times. And then it's going to be good. Pull the end of it out. And then keep feeding it around. There's a little hole that goes through the front of the block right here and into the top. Now there's a end stop in there, like you saw. It started spinning. It's trying to pick up that filament. So run it forward, then run it back, line it up. So that's our goal. And then our proto pasta mermaid's tail teal is going to be our head color. And that's got to go into cart number 1. Or cart 2. And making the adjustment to my rep rack. All right, so I had to adjust the rep rack because I've got spool rollers on there, and the proto pasta spools are only half kilo, so they're a little bit narrower. Same thing again. Run that around. Now this time when I put this in, you'll see that it moves over to position 1 and starts trying to grab the fullness of the knife. And for our last one, we've got black. Did end up having some black. I have no idea what brand this even is. ID Max. So there's some cheap foam that I picked up somewhere. And we're going to use that for the eyes. So what we had happen there was the filament in tool 1 and filament in tool 3 didn't register when it fed out the front. It's a little cold out here. When I came out here this morning, it was 28 degrees out here. So it was a little chilly. Filament's a little stiff. So it didn't want to bend right, and this black is God knows how old. So anyway, we've got it all set up now. So now we have all this loaded. Go over here. I like to comb all my steppers first. Then go in here and select our font. And go ahead and hit print. It's going to home itself. Well, a lot of this is going to depend on how you have your macros set up. So your print start. Mine's going to home. Then it's going to go ahead and feed that first filament down. Verifying all the different tools. And as you can see, the colors load up. Silver, blue. All of the silver is now bronze. Now it's going to heat up that hot end before it puts it the rest of the way in. And it's going to go through the rest of its print start with that print starter. The hot end's heated up. Went ahead and finished loading that. Now it's going to continue on with its print start macro. Well, let's take a minute and talk about this print. Over the course of it, there was 91 filament changes, as you guys saw when I sliced it. I had to fix 2 problems during the print with filament changes. The first one was the filament didn't cut all the way, so it didn't eject fully. And then the second one was because it didn't eject, it had burned a little divot in the filament. So when it tried to reload that filament, it wouldn't load all the way in. Not a huge issue. The rest of the print went fantastic. I've been having better and better results. The more time that I've put on this, it seems to be wearing itself in pretty well. I do have both the extruder sensor and the tool head sensor on there now. It was a bit of work getting that extruder sensor since there wasn't necessarily a GPIO port on that tool head board for it. There was for one, but there wasn't for the other. If you're using a printer where you have sensorless homing or something like that, you're going to have enough GPIO ports on that tool head in order to be able to do it. But other than that, print went pretty good. And we'll go ahead and get to the end results of this. Well, print just finally finished. As you may notice, his eyes aren't black. But we clearly got black on the purge tower. What happened there was, it's one of the things you got to look at is how much purge volume you have for your different color changes. And I didn't have enough for going from that blue to that black. So it never purged out enough filament to get that color change for his eyes. Not a huge issue for this. It's just a toy for the kid. I'll just go ahead and paint those eyes black and move on. But it is something to note when you're printing and when you're slicing your stuff, is make sure your purge volumes are correct for your color changes. Some of that is a lot of tests and trial and error. Load up filament, see how much you need to purge out to get that color swap. Other than that, he's looking pretty cool. Take him off of here. there it is. Again, if you'd like to print one of these models, it's made by my buddy Redblood. I'll put a link in the description to it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your build.